Hello, and welcome to Check Out This Guy, a podcast where we have a bunch of guys that we have taped to a wall, and we throw a dart and see which one it lands on. And that's the one we're talking about today, I guess. I don't know if that's true all the time, but it is now, I guess. I'm one of the hosts. I'm Morg. My pronouns are they, he.
Hi. I'm another host. I'm Izzy. My pronouns are pretty much any of them other than they, them, because make a choice, you cowards.
Oh, damn.
Oh, my God.
And I want
to... Calling out our listeners, damn.
No, not calling out our listeners. I'm just
kidding.
No, that's thematically appropriate to the topic today.
Okay, interesting. But I do want to note that Morg said that there are a bunch of guys taped to the wall. Not pictures of guys, just the guys themselves.
Yeah, I know what I said.
Uh-huh, yeah.
I'm aware.
Yeah,
I mean, what else are you going to do with guys?
No, I want to clarify for the audience that there was no miscommunication.
Well, I'm sure everyone hears the third voice.
Yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Do I have a choice in that matter? Okay. Hi, I'm Symbolic in Godzilla, and I'm 5 dancing teenage boys that will sing their way into your heart.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
This is relevant to what I think Symbolic is going to talk about.
Yes, it is. Because today I present to the Check Out This Guy Society, Morg.
I know them.
Hero. Do you? Do you really know Morg? Or are you going to learn things about Morg you never knew before? Wait, which Morg?
Exactly.
Or are we talking about Frankie? Because should I just get into it?
Yeah, you probably should.
Get into it.
Because you're going to confuse everyone by being like, this is Morg, but not that Morg. But it is kind of that Morg.
So if you're a Check Out This Guy fan, and you should be, you probably have already heard the Frankie episode.
Yeah.
Now, I am the GM for the campaign that Frankie comes from. And the thing about Frankie is oftentimes I will turn to the character of Frankie and say, hey, Frankie, or mean to say that, but instead say, hey, Morg, and confuse which name I'm reaching for when both talking to Morg or Frankie, the character, the real person, which led to a long-running joke that Morg was somewhere in the game, which at first we recoiled from in horror, but gradually have grown to embrace. And we didn't know what that meant until I think the last session was when we finally revealed the truth of Morg, the amazing secret life of Morg. And I am excited to bring this character to you, who is mostly my creation, but not entirely, and has been a part of the setting, but not fully realized until recently, because there was a mystery I kind of left blurry in my imagination.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you chose Morg to bring to us, because your Morg sounds like extremely my shit.
Mm-hmm.
So the main influence we're dealing with here is the music of Electric Six, which is the thematic underpinning of the campaign. Now, everyone knows the Gay Bar song, and we're going to take that. We're just going to kind of set it to the side because that's fine. That's a fine song. But there's a lot of better songs, in my opinion, that actually have like good, funny lyrics or like a thing going on.
Like Gay Bar Part 2.
Gay Bar Part 2 is a better song than Gay Bar, in my opinion. Actually.
Yeah.
So that's a big influence. But a lot of the other influence that pertains to Morg is He-Man, action figures, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures, and related, like, that era of, like, you get a blister pack with a cool action figure with a lot of accessories in it, and then you can maybe buy a vehicle to put them on, and it's cool. The animated Highlander series, in which, for some reason, the Highlanders were driving across the post-apocalyptic wasteland, Bishop of X-Men fame, because, post-apocalyptic wastelands. There was a lot of post-apocalyptic wastelands here, basically, is what I'm getting at here. And Morg is one of those. And the last thing is, if you are familiar with the horrible RPG of Rifts, there's a facility somewhere where they genetically engineered dogs to be psychic hunters. And it's not a bad idea, I guess, because it's like dogs are psychic sensitive. So what if we make humanoid dogs that hunt down the psychics?
Interesting.
Whatever. There's a picture in there that's really cool where there's like a cyborg-looking dog person being, mutated into a humanoid person. And it's like, that's an idea. So you put all of this in the blender, and then you also have an unrelated plot item that came up very early on, which is a statue of a lion that we picked up that was very important. And that all comes together to form Morg. That's you, Morg. This is who you are tonight.
This is who I am in the Wendy's tonight. Actually, it should be the McDonald's, because there's a McDonald's song by Electric Six.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Morg, you were like, I'm gonna introduce this character as like kind of like after talking about Morg for so long, and is it okay? And I was like, yeah, sure. I don't want to get like the other players confused. So technically, this Morg is initials. It's like MORG.
Mm-hmm. And it stands for several different things.
Yes.
I don't remember what it currently stands for, but we did work it out.
Yeah. It's not like that important, but just that like it's like, yeah, this is not the human in real life. This is a cool mutant shade creature that may not be a shade fully. That's also from another universe.
Now, I think you did say that there is some visual resemblance at the time that I introduced Morg between you and the MORG. I think your specific phrasing was, we both have manes.
Yeah. I cut mine since then.
Oh,
but
no! Yes. Samson, your power!
Yeah. I guess I probably look less of like Morg than I used to, but it's summer, baby. I need...
No, I did the same thing. I gotta go swimming, Mm-hmm. So the other important like little piece of media reference here that I didn't mention is Planescape Torment, in which, minor spoiler, if you keep making up a person's name and saying they exist, they will pop into existence out of nowhere. And you can do some pretty cool stuff with that in the game. And that's what happened to Morg. So the thing about this universe is that's very much based in Electric Six. Is the original idea for the Electric Six campaign is we were going to be gender terrorists, because gender in the music of Electric Six is a weird and fraught and complicated thing, full of denial and acceptance and play and hamburgers, and you've gotta like place an order for your gender and declare your gender, and then disavow your gender. It's all over the place. I didn't do a sampling of lines for this, but I could make my case if you want me to. But the characters we made for the campaign were not gender terrorist characters. They're a bunch of waiters. They work in restaurants. So
Frankie's a cook, technically.
Yeah, that's true. So I dropped that from the formal campaign and instead made that the previous version of reality prior to the campaign. Because whenever you use this magical device that's out in the spirit realm to make a wish to change the world, it just basically erases the old world and dumps it into the spirit realm. Whenever you make a wish on the magical wish-granting device in the spirit realm, it takes the real world and just kind of hits remove from hard drive and dumps it into the ether and replaces it with a new realm modified to fit what you were hoping for. So the gender terrorists were the last version of the party before this one. And they won. And they got to change the world. So things like dysphoria just don't exist. They have been written out of existence. There's no fee to apply to modify gender stuff, and gender-affirming surgery is only as difficult to get as any other normal surgery. That whole component of trauma for people has been removed from reality. So in the current game, that's actually kind of cool. Like, it's kind of a aspirational setting in some ways. In other ways, it's a pretty dark setting because, it's still capitalism, with, like, senators and stuff.
Yeah, it kind of didn't solve the root problem as much as it did a part of the problem.
But, like, if you're like, man, I feel weird about gender. I'm 15. I want to wear a dress to school, but I was born a boy. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. You're not, that's just not a thing that happens as a negative in the setting. Because we won in the past. But the world we're talking about today is the previous world, the deserted wasteland of the world. Back when gender was a nightmare. And the cis destroyed the world. like, no joke. So, what's going on back then is we got our 5 heroes. We've got we got Frankie Farley. We have badass bruiser Margarita. We have internet sensation Atsuki, who is now a depressed person, but before that was a not depressed person on the internet posting all the time. Even in the wasteland.
Super not depressed,
Definitely not overcompensating for depression.
Famously non-depressed posters.
Got the fourth person in this party is James Carter, now the president, now possibly the main villain, the one who went and made the wish. This is an Eidolon game, so everyone has their weird soul power that manifests their soul. To make a wish, you have to discard your soul power. You lose your Eidolon. That gets stripped from you and removed. It's pretty costly as a process. So his whole thing was that he had a power that suggested he would be the best choice to go and make the wish. So he's the one who did it in the present world. And then the 5th member of our team is kind of the heart and soul and glue of our post-apocalyptic hero group, and that is Morg, who in the past was an experiment by the government that replaced the United States of America. There was the United States of America, but they got really upset over a bunch of stuff and, got themselves in a tizzy over, gender stuff and other stuff and just kind of started tearing themselves apart. I mean, nothing like what we're seeing now in an era of peace and prosperity, but, real, actual, crazy violence. And so the United States fell apart, but President Lenny Kravitz, inspired by the song Lenny Kravitz, then took his, presidential power and reformed a new government, which, unless you have a better name for it,
no,
I'm gonna hit it, and you're gonna hate it.
It sucks, but it's funny.
Here we go with the rise of the Cis Federate States of America.
I can't give that a proper reaction.
I mean, I don't know if there is a proper reaction to that. Like, I didn't make it up. It came to me.
Yes, you did.
No,
okay.
there is a proper reaction. It involves going and getting a bucket and throwing up into it.
No.
So this is the group that is the evil empire of the wastelands. Because, you've got the wasteland, post-apocalyptic wasteland settlements where there's lots of parties and gender rebels and gender policing. And I mean literal gender policing, like, they check your gender papers and they haul you away and stuff like that. And so our heroes are going around and they're forming a biker gang army to fight the cis Federate states. And the cis are like doing all these projects, and they discover the undertow, the spirit realm exists, and gradually discover, oh hey, there's this tool we can use, and if we can modify our bikes, we can travel into the spirit realm on our bikes and get deep enough into the spirit realm to make a wish. And so it becomes this sort of race against time to get to this thing. It's called the Broken Machine, because that's another song. And whoever gets there first and makes the wish rewrites the rules of reality. And the good guys won. And they made a wish, and the thing that was the central source of most of their trauma was removed. So yay, it's a happy story. It just... Look, it was a good ending, it just didn't solve every problem in the world, It's like, I got a good job, my life's better now, but,
I have a question here.
Yeah.
So when someone makes the wish, does the world reset? Or is it like, oh, we get a new world that's a branch off of that one that's different, and the original world continues?
All right, it's sort of like, all right, imagine you've got a very nice dinner table. You got like those things that you put on top of a table that are made out of cloth that I forget the name of.
A tablecloth.
Thank you. You got the nice tablecloth. You got like a candelabra. You light your candles. You set out your food. It's all very nice. And you bring out the food and everyone's plate, and you've plated all the dishes, and everyone's about to sit down to eat. And then when someone makes the wish, what happens is you've also got this giant trash can that is the spirit realm, the undertow. And basically what happens is when someone makes that wish, everything on that tablecloth you just whoop up the tablecloth and dump everything into the trash can, and you put down a new tablecloth and it starts over from scratch.
Gotcha.
And the trash can, the spirit realm is just all of the various past settings of the table that have ever existed.
Yeah, the undertow is full of past world.
That's a big garbage can.
And the older ones get weird, because the longer something stays around in the undertow, the weirder it gets. And they're always in a state of flux. Which is important to understand for when we get back to Morg. Because I've kind of been setting the general narrative arc. We got our biker gang, we got our heroes. But Morg is special because everyone else was human. They were born, they grew up, maybe in the 90s, maybe in the 2000s. It's a little vague when exactly the apocalypse happens. So Morg was in a cis Federate secret high-tech lab. Morg was a shade, originally, a lion-shaped shade that was pulled out of the undertow by evil government experiments and forced into a vaguely humanoid shape, using and rebuilt to be like part human, part lion shade thing, part cyborg. So if we look at these pictures that I dropped in the group chat, these aren't perfect representations because I haven't paid anybody to draw Morg yet, and I should. But the first one that I have in there, there's a sort of you got a lion head with a mane, but then like parts of it sort of like fade into mechanical bits. That one is very I think very much how I imagine it. Like it's very it's constant. Every part of Morg is constantly shifting between being organic and mechanical, because being a shade in this world means you are stuck between what you are now and what you used to be, and are constantly moving in both directions. So just existing as a shade is very not pleasant, especially if you are in the real world. And so the attached mechanical bits are getting incorporated and unincorporated and modified constantly. So I imagine it doesn't feel very good. Now, real world Morg, I don't know if you have chronic pain issues, but I do. And that may be where something I was drawing on there, potentially.
Not diagnosed. Not anything like... Just the getting older pains. I don't really have, like...
Oh, I love those. Those are good. I love those getting older pains.
I don't have, like, arthritis or anything, thankfully.
Cool. So, the rest of the Morg thing that I've been trying to struggle with is because I couldn't find a good humanoid lion cyborg that wasn't just the whole body is fully mechanical. And I want it to be more like a, humanoid, very much organic and mechanical mixed. And often, like, sliding one to the other. But then you've also got the really cool, like, armor that Morg wears, because Morg is a bit of a technician, which I did not think about that being a joke, but now I realize it's a joke, maybe. Because you're a technician, right, Morg?
I work with technicians. I work with biotechnicians, but yes, more or less.
And see, this Morg is something of a biotechnician, but it's...
Not quite like that. More like,
So, they have, like, really cool, like, cybernetic metal armor that they can wear, because it's Mad Max world, and you've got to have your cool, weird armor.
Yeah, and your cool motorcycles.
Your very cool motorcycle, which Morg is the main motorcycle repair person, because Morg has a special power. Morg's special power is kind of looks like little locusts that crawl out of them, but they're actually nanomachines that like go in that help keep Morg intact, if you will. Like this weird bit of changing biomass or cybernetics isn't working for me, so I have to self-correct my left arm or my leg or whatever. But also can be used to like repair a motorcycle.
Oh, I just want to say, Morg may already be aware, I am very much a fan of cybernetic cat people with motorcycles.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Like I said, this is extremely my shit.
And the thing is, I'm not a super lion person, and I'm not a super cat person, but I don't know, like, it seemed right.
It's good.
I think when I told Morg about this is the basic concept, I think you were like, thumbs up, that's pretty badass, was my memory of the reaction.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, when Morg is fighting, we came up with an M name for Morg. I think it was Max? No.
Yeah, I think it was Max.
They have many names, is the thing with Morg. Many names, many pronouns.
Because, it was just like another M name, so you're not just like totally confusing us. And I was like, I considered Max as a name for a short period of time, but gave that up. So you're like, okay.
There was another one that I wish I could remember that we liked. I could scroll around for it.
Yeah. Marlowe? No, that's a drink. Is that it?
No, I think it was Marlowe. Marlowe was one of them. So, alright. And so part of the whole saga, Morg is not like the fighter of the group. Like, they're strong. They're pretty badass. But, like, everyone else is much more like, I'm going to leap into it and fight. Morg is kind of the thinker of the group. And that's one of the things we've noticed in the current reality is we don't have one of those anymore. Frankie is probably the deepest thinker, but Atsuki is a very emotional, reactive person. And Margarita is a... Would it be too harsh for me to call Margarita a toxic optimist?
I was just gonna be like, oh, she's kind of like has shonen protagonist syndrome a little bit, but yeah,
she's just like, yeah, no, man, it'll be fine. I'm telling the president that we will destroy him. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that we love her for that. Is the thing.
Oh yeah, I feel like if it was just Frankie and Atsuki, shit would not get done.
Every time April comes out with another off-the-wall thing that Margarita is planning or doing or saying, we are like, oh yay, we love this. Even if the world is going to slap you in the face for this, we are cheering for you. I think my favorite, most recent one was Margarita was like, hey, ex-wife who I'm still in love with, who I'm trying to get back with. If I die fighting the president, will you go find my alternate past self that I changed the timeline for and get with her instead? Because she's been around in the city just living another life and sometimes covering my shifts at work. And she's pretty cool too, so why don't you? So if I'm dead, you can still, be with me in some way. And she's like...
No.
Yeah, basically.
Her ex, Midori, is like, what the fuck are you asking me to do? Yeah. Margarita's like, this is normal.
Margarita's just casually explaining, yeah, I did create a branch timeline, so there are 3 alternate versions of us just hanging out in the city. It's cool. It's fine. It's normal. Oh my gosh.
And we can never run into each other, because if we do, I think the Otsukis might try to kill each other.
That is true.
All of our characters have problems.
Sounds like it. Just a little bit.
I have
Those
explained
are good characters, though.
I've explained some of Frankie's problems on the Frankie episode, which I think is called Gay Bar. I believe someone was just like, it's Gay Bar now.
I mean, it kind of... We did finally meet the gay bar Eidolon. We did go to the gay bar, finally.
True.
And you destroyed the gay bar.
True.
Whoops. not you, plural. You, singular, Frankie.
True. I had my big Phantom fight there, we should say.
Yeah. That was fun. I was sad I didn't get to actually destroy the entire universe in that Phantom fight. I really was trying. But instead we decided to go internal and meet Frankie's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Dick Valentine, possibly, or an echo of Dick Valentine, lead singer of Electric Six.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting away from Morgue, though, I feel like. So I found some quotes while I was trying to find some of the other Morgue names we had. So here's a quote from the chat that Morgan and I had. We were talking about J names because everybody whose name starts with J is an echo of James Carter, the president, like another past version of them, usually. So you say Jesus is another J name, and then I have here, oh no.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe why this guy is not a J. He's like an anti-Jesus. He will break the cycle. Morgue Stormborn, Lion of the Great Sand Sea, Breaker of Chains, Destroyer of the Wheel, or whatever. And then someone types Khaleesi.
You typed Khaleesi. Don't say someone. It was you. Anyway, but yeah, so Morgue is the Antichrist, but like not in a bad way. Mm-hmm. This is very strange to say, but sorry, my chair keeps squeaking. Hopefully that...
I was not prepared for that. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back to why Morgue is a lion, because this all goes back to the song James Carter by Electric Six, which is one of my favorite songs by them. Which is I don't know how to describe this song. Mark, how would you describe this song? It's very relaxed.
Yeah, especially for them, because I feel like they have a lot of like high pace, like
this is
songs.
a you could fall asleep to it song with lyrics like "We're all under surveillance from a satellite," and from the very beginning, I decided this was going to be one of the campaign songs that really anchor the campaign, which is why the president is James Carter. But at the end of the song, there's this part where it's like, "This is who you are tonight, 5 dancing teenage boys who sing their way into our hearts," which is why there had to be 5 people in the past reality. So we had the 3 player characters. We've got James Carter, who used to be our friend, and then, of course, we've got Morg. But the end of the song is, "There's a plague of locusts upon us, and there's a nightmare in the swarm, and there's a lion out in the desert slouching towards Bethlehem to be born again. Backstreet's back, all right." That's the end of the song.
Yep.
And
it's very good that I'm also an Electric Six fan over here.
Okay, that works. I'm glad you get it then. Like, you say Electric Six and people think gay bar, and I'm not saying that's bad, but it's like, he's like throwing turkeys out of planes to fill up the sky, right? Like there is a party where all the politicians go to dance, and he wants to set fire to that building. There's stuff going on in these songs. I don't know if it's good stuff, but there's stuff, is the thing. And that's why it's a very political focused campaign, even though we don't actually engage in politics, because all politics happens at the nightclub, apparently, somehow. So one of our very first missions, and I can't remember why, was to bring a lion into reality from the undertow. And the lion we ended up with was, I posted in the chat, 2 statues of lions. These are out front. Our game is set in the District of Columbia in America, because it's a city I know well, and I have a very strong feeling about and love for. And I like setting games there because it's a city, I think it's a weird and interesting city. And so there are these 2 things called the Canova Lions that are outside the Corcoran Art Building in DC. And so if you haven't seen them, they're very cool. They're bronze statues of lions. One's sleeping and one's kind of staring like, I don't know how to describe how this guy feels. Like, terrified is the vibe I get. But from the second one.
Now that you mention it, I remember seeing them.
Yeah, so we got a miniature Canova lion statue that we've just been carrying around for the whole game. Morg's stoner roommate. No, see, I did it again. Frankie's stoner roommate would like sit with the lion statue and like watch TV and like pet it. Just because the statue was there is the thing. The thing I am really big on is, even if a character shows up for like 2 seconds, if they're in the universe, I want them to like be around. Like Atsuki has a dad who is important but doesn't show up very much. But I like to have him send a text message every so often just to be like, they are still alive and doing stuff, whether the plot is moving or not. Random NPC who we met in the first adventure still exists, is in the world, and did end up at a party you guys were at, and did get eaten by Frankie.
Well, not on purpose.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was an accident. You accidentally ate a guy. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Look, it's fine. It's fine.
I think it might be a big deal later, but Frankie's just trying not to think about it.
So we're gearing up to go into the final battle, we think. I'm saying we because I have a GM insert character who is a pathetic waste of space named Jack. He is the good parts of James Carter that he expelled because he discovered being president makes you a bad person, and if you have like good impulses, those get in your way at doing president stuff. So he's like kicked that out of himself. So now Jack is wandering around this kind of sad, lonely man whose major power is to sense parties that he's not invited to usually, which is a great power and very useful. And Jack has this whole time been like wanting to be sort of the Gandalf figure because Jack knows a lot of what's going on and why things are happening, but our characters aren't super interested in why things are happening usually. They usually want to just do things and then go home.
Which is funny because, like, I think the players are interested, but the characters are like, no.
Jack's like, hey, can I tell you about, like, what the secret of this? Like, I know a guy who can teach you the secret history of the world, and we're like, that's fine. That's whatever.
I think the person who cares the most is probably Frankie, because I can't help myself.
Frankie likes conspiracy theories, you know? So
that too.
Margarita likes fighting and motorcycles and girls and drinking and partying. Atsuki likes people needing him.
Yeah.
So this doesn't lead to investigation a lot of the time. So we finally go to Jack's house, which is a large, I think I called it the building that is always a building. Because it is a magic building.
That's right, yeah. I was like, wait, I don't remember what it's called other than Jack's apartment.
This is not Jack's apartment. Jack has a room in the building that is always a building. The building is itself a shade. It is from the undertow. Right. And it is in the real world. And so, for example, there's an elevator that reflects Frankie's current state. Frankie's powers shift randomly from concept to concept. We're not exactly sure why. We're getting closer to an answer. We think it's
mechanically it's because they're a wild card, but like in universe they're not 100% sure why, but there is some like, oh, maybe they were experimented on by their shitty dad.
Like, I think the two most compelling explanations at the moment are that your brother that died was made out of you, and somehow that messed with your Eidolon. And the other compelling one is you might have been in the broken machine for a little while, but not fully finished the wish-making process.
Yes.
And that could have fractured your Eidolon. But we don't know, and because of the way I run this game, I don't know. Because I am a big believer in the whole formative, like, introduce a thing, rewrite the entire backstory for a funny joke. If it hasn't been on screen yet, it doesn't exist. It's an idea it's a potential idea until it actually happens. So, like, I have this huge backstory for Ben, who is Margarita's nemesis, and something changed because Margarita did yet another insane thing. And so I took that entire backstory and I pulled it and I gave it to Flamingo Joe, a different character, and made it even bigger and worse. Because you took away my guy who was made out of many guys, and I was very sad about this.
Yeah, we did a little oopsie poopsie fucky wucky and like fused a bunch of guys together, but then because there's multiple like margaritas, because we did some time travel stuff accidentally from going in the undertow, we could do like a backfilling, like, actually don't fuse all these guys together.
Yeah.
Because that's just how the undertow be sometimes, is that it's weird and does weird stuff.
So, so I don't get my really awesome, super powerful, not very smart bad guy running around destroying things because he's one guy made out of several guys that have been fused in a way humans aren't supposed to be fused. So I switched that to someone else, and it's even worse because now it's like Jimmy Buffett, but if he was a super villain, basically.
That's one way of putting it, yes.
Because he's wow. He's the Pink Flamingos song, if you remember that one. I'm a woman-hating monster with a suitcase full of fire. Is a choice lyric from that one.
And he sure is a woman-hating monster. Or was.
Yeah, he's gone for sure. You guys totally killed him completely.
Shut up.
There's something about Electric Six songs where I will generally only remember a single phrase from the entire song.
Yeah.
And yeah, the flamingos part did spark my memory.
The other one that I really like that I haven't gotten to use yet for Pink Flamingos is you've got to climb the statue of the demon to get closer to God. And I just haven't...
No.
And I haven't figured out... We have been in... This was in the past world. We got a flashback to the past world where this was after Morg had died under mysterious circumstances. We encountered past Flamingo Joe in a mysterious, like, tower where there was a statue of the demon, and that flashback created in the modern world something weird that I'm not going to go into because it's just a little bit too, like, what the heck at the moment to make sense of. But we did have a fight. I don't remember where I was going with that.
I don't remember either, but I'm glad Flamingo Joe is definitely dead and not going to be like the final bad guy or something.
I mean, there's
We're part of the final bad guy.
Yeah, that's the thing is we haven't picked our final bad guy yet. We don't know who it's going to be yet. We're getting close, but it hasn't been declared yet. The form of the main villain hasn't taken form. There's a lot of options right now. I thought we were at the end of disc 1 of 3, but I think we might be at the like giant final dungeon that takes several hours to play through. Actually, which is, you know. Anyway, back to Morg. So we bring this art lion, very affable statue, can't move on its own. We bring it back. It's hanging out with the stoner, and then we just kind of forget about it for lots and lots of time. We get in fights with the president. We take out one of the most powerful of all of the people ever. Because Flamingo Joe is, in terms of raw power, he's one of the most powerful Eidolon users. Even though his Eidolon is kind of stupid. He can activate and control flamingos. So
sometimes the stupidest sounding power is unfortunately also the strongest power.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the real life phoenixes.
And his whole thing. Oh,
damn.
did you hear that? Did you hear that? Izzy said it, not me. Izzy said that, not me. I didn't say that. That was an Izzy line.
Fuck.
Yes.
Fuck. Don't say that.
Too late. It's been said.
No.
I mean, it's also true.
Frankie's gonna be so sad.
Well, maybe you'll be able to help your traumatized friend, cope by killing Flamingo Joe. No, that's not going to work.
We already killed him, but not really, apparently.
I didn't say no. He might be really dead. I don't know. I don't know. I thought Ben was going to be important. But then
He's important. He's just on our side.
Then I thought Ben was going to be unimportant, and now Ben is like one of your big allies.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
Symbolic likes to do a play to find out what happens type of deal. And, like, honestly, that's a good way of DMing.
It's very fun for me because, like, everything is this is my idea unless something better comes along. And sometimes something better comes along. So I do a lot of planning, but then, like, so I have, like, this is who I think the final boss is. But, you know, like, right now, the president is chained to a chair, so he's not acting very final bossy. So I don't know how that outcome is going to be, and that's what makes it fun for me.
We're having a conversation with him while he's strapped down to a chair. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't remember why you wanted to strap him down to a chair.
'Cause we didn't want him to, like, touch the lion more.
Oh, that's right. Okay, let's get to that. So we're going through, we're doing our stuff, and then we're going into the final confrontation, and we just go down the list of NPCs, and I'm like, which NPCs would you like to equip for the final battle? Because they think it's the final battle. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to take Ben, we're going to take the Future Boys, which is Ben's gang. We're not going to take this guy. Skippy J is not coming with us. We can't unequip Jamie because we're stuck with him, which is annoying. Jamie's Eidolon is naked pictures of your mother, by the way. It is one of my favorite of the Eidolons I've designed. It's very convoluted. Jamie is very important because he's been driving a lot of action. He had been dating Margarita's ex-wife. His power is basically like he makes a threat, and he tells you to do something, and if you don't do it, then his Eidolon will both stab you and release blackmail over you. Basically. At the same time.
And we also, freed his Eidolon, but he grew another Eidolon that does the same stuff, kind of.
He's also totally mentally healthy, but was able to fire his Eidolon and then grow a second one to replace the one he fired. And so we have the first Eidolon, we've kind of adopted it.
She's our friend, smiley face.
She's having a rough one. She looks like Utena, basically. But kind of like punk, edgy Utena. Like Utena with more fishnets, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about bribery and blackmail, and that's why Jamie is very powerful in this campaign, because it's politics. So, Yeah.
It's politics, baby.
So we're going along, we've got Jamie, and we've got the art lion, and we're not really sure why. But we decide to bring it along. So we sit down to dinner with the president, and the president reveals his new Eidolon, because much like... Alright, Izzy, have you heard of Kingdom Hearts?
God damn it.
That's not a good question, because yes, of course I've heard of it.
I've got a character who, whenever he tries to explain something in the setting, in the universe, he says, "Have you heard of Kingdom Hearts?"
God.
Because it's like trying to explain what a Phantom is, for example. There's another character, Midori, Margarita's ex-wife, who is a huge Transformers fan, also. Which I think...
Nice.
Yeah. Midori's a tough one, because I keep trying... I don't want her to be, the perfectly wonderful lady. I want her to be, toe the line between she's someone's boss, and that's awful, and also there's reasons that Margarita is still in love with her. And that's hard. That's a hard one. She's the hardest character to play for me, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because everyone else, I'm I'm just going to make them good or bad. And I'm trying to make her both. So, alright, so we're going in, we're rolling in. One of the things we've discovered is if you don't have an Eidolon anymore, you can grow one with enough time. That's the Kingdom Hearts connection, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, you can grow a heart in Kingdom Hearts.
So
nobody's have them. It's a whole thing, but it doesn't really matter.
So go ahead.
Some people can do that even, Jamie did that, and there's reason to think Frankie may have something regarding that also.
Yeah. And
due to how it changes and is weird.
Also, inanimate objects might be able to do that. We do have a sentient motorcycle garage.
As you do.
It doesn't done much, but the implications of sentient motorcycle garage are there. So
there's also a I guess he's not an object, but there's a Hoagie. There's a cartoon Hoagie that came from one of Frankie's Eidolons.
Yeah. Hoagie is equipped on the backup menu as a special summon if things start going bad, basically. Hoagie has been getting into some questionable stuff, though. Ever since it lost the Starlight Cannon. Hoagie's had a rough one. It ain't easy out here being a sentient sandwich in the real world, is all I'm saying. But, alright, so we're at this thing, and then the president reveals his new Eidolon, which is Jimmy Carter, which means he can summon 5 shades from the Undertow and control them. 5 dancing teenage boys. Metaphorically, anyway. Because, remember, we're in a post-dysphoric world, so, you can be a boy with makeup and a dress, and it just doesn't matter who whatever. You know, it's the world perfectly suited to my relationship with gender. Gender play is encouraged. Gender euphoria is great. Gender policing is just non-existent anywhere. Which has had a lot of massive historical changes in the setting that have not come up just because that's just not been relevant to the game we're playing. But, like, you know, it's had some impact on the patriarchy, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different patriarchy. It's still there, but it's different now. Women can be patriarchs. We have arrived, is what I'm saying.
So true. More women prison guards.
God.
Oh, God, yeah. All right, well, let's put that on a t-shirt. More women prison guards. More.
I think it's probably already on a fucking t-shirt.
Well, I was with your name attached, though.
No!
Yeah.
I know some women prison guards.
There you go, man.
So what the president does is summons shades representing the past people. So you've got a shade of Jimmy Carter from the past world, or someone pretending to be Jimmy Carter. You've got a shade of the old Frankie. You've got the old Frankie shade, the old Margarita shade, the old Otsky shade. And then you've got a shade that is appearing to be Morg. I believe Morg was on drums.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then they put down their instruments because they're actually a boy band, and they start singing a song. And our heroes did not appreciate this entertainment that the president had put on for them. And he, like, put out, like, special food and drink tailored to their individual tastes, you know, like, past Otsky really, really liked, like, sweet caffeinated drinks, and President Otsky was like, this is gross. Is that right? I can't remember exactly.
Like, those gross, like, unicorn Starbucks drinks.
Specifically, it was the unicorn rainbow pride drink.
Yeah.
And, you know, so just, like, everyone was really not impressed with this display of generosity and whatever it is when you're a good host. Like bread and salt, and and then they tied him to a chair. Because what happened was someone brought out the Art Lion statue, which up until now we didn't know the Art Lion was Morg until like just a few seconds ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I missed an important detail. I'll finish this and then I'll go back for the important detail. So we bring out the Art Lion statue and it starts melting. And the head falls off and it turns from bronze statue into Morg's cybernetic shade head. But it's all like melty and not doing well being in the real world. And it hasn't spoken. And we're not sure if it's alive. And the nanobots, the little locust things that come out of it, are spreading and starting to like incorporate the table or do something to the table. And like the president was like trying to call it to him so he could like do something with it. I'm not sure what. But it's like, the president. See, here's the thing. Back in the past, everybody loved Morg, right? And
some would say everyone loves Morg now.
That's a new hit sitcom, I hear.
Oh God.
So the president was the president had just previously mentioned how they didn't have a great relationship with Morg because they were kind of jealous because like Morg is smart and confident and a 10-foot tall lion cyborg, and like, I'm just this guy, says James Carter. I've got a peanut farm. And so he's kind of jealous. So he's like doing something to the head. And that's, of course, when we chain him to a chair using magic. And we're mostly focused on the guy chained to the chair. But we haven't noticed that this weird shadow lion's head cyborg thing that is our old friend, but we don't really remember him is the problem, because there's no Morg in the current world. When you make the wish, you can also like pick some people not to get continued. So like, remember Lenny Kravitz in the Cisfederate States of America?
Mm-hmm.
Gone. You make
Hell yes.
Just erased. No more Lenny Kravitz. But also Morg. Morg was erased. Rip to a real one. So this head thing there, our heroes don't really know what this head means. They're more distracted by the president, who maybe tried to kill them, And then Jamie walks in and is like, guys, why haven't you killed the president yet? And
that's how it ended.
That's where we are today. And then Jamie looks over and sees the Morg head and is like, what the fuck is that? So that's where we are right now. The thing that I didn't mention is the way that the Morg reveal was handled. The way Morg became a thing the party knew about. Which to me is perhaps the best part. See, in Jack's house, the building that is always a building, they get into the Frankie elevator, which is themed based on whatever form Frankie is in right now. That is what the elevator is like. And they go up to Jack's apartment, which is a very large apartment. It's a ridiculous apartment because it doesn't have to obey physical laws. He's got a whole bunch of memorabilia from the past, because he's kind of like this guy who really was into the TV show Brimstone, and it was canceled and never got a DVD release, so he's like trying to collect every last bit of memorabilia he can of this thing, only instead of it being a TV show, it's his own life that he was a part of. That never existed because reality got rewritten. So he's got... Jack's apartment is filled with memorabilia of, like, Otski action figures. He's got an arcade machine that can switch between the Margarita Animal Crossing game and the Otski-style Castlevania 4 action game. He's got a complete set of salt shakers. He's got all of the really cool toys. He's got the complete TV series animated based on the events in the Wasteland. And he's just, kind of feels like an obsessive fan when you look at all the stuff he has, basically. And so he gets out his action figures, and, he shows them the Otski action figure with the chains that shoot out, and he uses to beat people up with, and has his cool catchphrases. And then, they've got the Margarita action figure, because she's like, this big biker lady with like a giant metal gauntlet. And, they've got the Frankie action figure with her Wait, what are Frankie Wasteland's pronouns? Are they the same? I think they're the same as present Frankie.
I think they're the same.
Which is they focused.
Yeah, they don't usually.
So Izzy was calling Frankie out.
No. I'm saying pick one to refer to me.
Yeah.
No shade intended towards anyone that goes by they, them.
See, I see you walking that back, so you're not picking fights with these superheroes. That's wise.
Damn.
No, I'm not walking that back at all.
Izzy is no longer...
I have 50-something episodes of podcasts that support me.
Izzy is no longer calling everyone who uses they, them a coward. They have changed their minds. Sorry. He has changed his mind. I'm sorry, I'm a coward. No. Wait.
Damn. Don't.
So, the joke got away from me and then hit me in the face, basically, is what happened, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, Wasteland Frankie had a really awesome steampunk fishing pole that could like catch anything.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites of Frankie's multiple eidolons, just because it's been used. I think at one point you used it just to drag a star down in the undertow, and it turned out to be a laser cannon.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what is this? All right, I've got a laser star now.
Yeah, it's called because all of Frank. I think I maybe mentioned this on the Frankie episode, but all of Frankie's Eidolons are like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard songs, and that one's Fishing for Fishies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I liked it so much that when we first did the flashback to the Wasteland world, I was like, it's got to be a steampunk fishing pole, right?
I was like, yeah, sure.
The other thing I'm really into, both as a player and as a GM, is it was in Apocalypse World. I don't know, it's not an Eidolon, but I really love the rule: be a fan of the characters. And I think that's kind of the stance I go with. So like everything I do, and it doesn't always work. Like I'm a player now for the first time in a long time. And I'm trying to bump and set so someone else can spike, like confessing to the girl they have a crush on, and then make color commentary from the side, is how I like to roll. So that's really kind of the whole focus for me is that aspect of, can we see the weird stuff these things do? So I end up having like favorite bits that people have done, basically. So we're there, and he pulled out these action figures, and they're eating breakfast. It's very awkward. They just saw a taxi called the Taxi to Nowhere that screams from the back seat. So they all piled into the front seat because it wasn't comfortable to drive over. The taxi is an inherited Eidolon from someone else who is dead. We don't know who. So anyway, and then he pulls out the Morg action figure, which is the coolest of the 5 heroes action figures. It's the biggest. It's, like when you have a toy line, like you have like the ones that are like, you have the Moss Man, right? Like it smells like Pine Forest. Now Moss Man was a cool action figure. I liked Moss Man, but you're not going to go nuts for the Moss Man action figure. But then you've got like, from the He-Man line in particular, there was a cowboy who, had a whole bunch of hidden weapons. Like, he was a cyborg guy, and the weapons just popped out of him. So, his chest opened up, and it was a cannon, and, his legs turned into guns, and his arms turned into guns. And I was like, that's my guy. That's the cool action figure. And so this is, a sort of, really big, bulky He-Man action figure with really cool armor, but, it's got all these little bits that come off, and all these really cool accessories. And Headmaster style, you can plug it into the various other toys to have them do special things. And that was when they first discovered, oh, that's Morg. And that was when I revealed to the players, I believe, that Morg not only exists, but used to be their friend. They don't remember Morg at all, and is super important to the plot. And has been prophesied from very, very early on as potentially being the Antichrist. Because in that song, Jimmy Carter, the lion in the desert slouching towards Bethlehem to be born, of course, references, Yates. It's the end of the world. So, and now here we are in these final moments. It's not a cool action figure. It's Morg's severed shadow cyber head melting reality as they aren't paying attention. And we don't know what's going to happen. But we do know that Morg's pretty important. And make sure to get your own Morg action figure from Toys R Us. And all the rest of the cool toys and video games and DVDs available from Eidolon 6. At Toys R Us only. And KB Toys, actually. We also do KB Toys.
Oh, hell yes. This is a much better world.
So yeah, that's it. That's Morg. I've wanted to make more room for Morg to create Morg. Morg parentheses humanoid to create Morg parentheses lion-like. Wait, no, that's...
Lion-oid? I don't know.
You know what? The problem is that doesn't actually clarify, because you did have a main not a whole month ago. So, Morg cybernetic versus Morg not cybernetic?
Yeah, sure.
But, I mean, we haven't had a lot of chance to work together to really make the character a dual creation. Like
yeah.
But that's kind of, it's been a rough month is also the thing. But like,
yeah,
I still feel like this is not my OC. It feels to me like, even though I'm like generating a ridiculous amount of content that Morg on this podcast has never heard before, like the secret base that Morg was made in.
You told me a little bit about that over DMs.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's the thing, is we've talked over DMs, we've had a little bit of time, but it's still, to me, the Morg character is a shared creation, not a me creation. And for example, that secret base, that secret lab that Morg was made in, that came from our discussions of having a second Eidolon Veggie. Actually, if you were, you designed and came up with a secret lab scenario, and that is where I got the idea for the secret lab for Morg. So even without directly contributing, you are baked into this big lion man.
I would hope so, since we do share him.
Yeah.
But
and
no,
I not just a name, a destiny.
Oh, scary. I don't think I'm ready to be the Antichrist, I have to be completely honest with you.
Are you ready to be a badass motorcycle-riding lion person, though?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. They scare me.
I mean, look, I gotta be honest, Morg doesn't know how to ride a motorcycle either. This is one of the things. The interface with technology thing is more like, I'm going to sit on the motorcycle, I'm going to send my Eidolon, which takes the form of tiny nanomachine locusts out, and it's going to interface with the motorcycle, and it's just going to kind of work, and I'm going to be along for the ride.
Yes.
Because I actually don't know how to ride a motorcycle. I know how to understand a motorcycle. It's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how a cybernetic cat person rides a motorcycle.
Yeah.
This is known.
And the thing is the thing is like, does Morg have a tail? Sometimes. Is Morg a boy or a girl? Sometimes. Is Morg an obligate carnivore? How are they building today? Is the thing. Morg, in many ways, I envision Morg's class as inhuman, but they kind of feel like a wild card now that I think about their powers. So.
Oh, interesting.
Like, because it's, like, their powers are consistent, but their self is in flux.
Yeah.
Because that's built into the Eidolons of the nature of the universe. Eidolons, by the way, are made out of love. Something you love. So if you don't love anything, you can't have an Eidolon. Now, love can mean a lot of different things. This is just disavowing senators from having Eidolons, basically. That's the main thing.
Yes.
So, like, if you like, I love money, you can have an Eidolon. I love torture, you can have an Eidolon. You don't have to be a good person. You just have to really be into stuff. You have to have feelings. I feel like that might be a bit prescriptivist. It can be complicated. Like, I know some people who are like, I don't know if I have feelings. You can have an Eidolon. It's cool. It counts. You count.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of, like, interesting stuff in, like, the aromantic community about, like, how people love and how love is treated, and I think that's interesting, and I'm like, yeah, they probably all could have Eidolons. Yeah, that's it. So when I say an Eidolon... It's mostly just senators. Yeah. You just didn't want senators to have Eidolons.
Well, have you seen a senator? I have some favorite senators, and I hate them all, is the thing. But let's not talk about them right now, because they're all dead, I think, in the game. They don't matter. In the game, yeah. I was like, well, not in real life. But the Cis-Federate States of America was destroyed, and now they are all toadies for Jimmy Carter. So, it's like, what are we going to do? So, there was somewhere I was going with that. Oh, you got that. The undertow is, of course, the constant change caught between what you are currently and what you used to be. So, there's a metaphor built in there, and that metaphor is built into the lion person, which is why making them a cyborg was maybe a bad idea, because technology doesn't do that. It's just what it is. So, like, that sounds pretty awkward. But their technology very specifically, like, changes, though, because they have, like, little nanomachines and stuff.
Symbolic, I'm going to direct you to what my username on Discord is currently.
Let's go take a look at this username. Let's see now. Your username is TruckStopGemini.
Nope, that's me.
That's Morg.
Your I'm wrong answers only, right? Is that the game we're playing? No, wait. Your user robot cat girls are transcoded. Okay, let me edit my statement and to clarify, the technology that they use in building more is not constantly shifting between a state of current and past. It is just regular old objects in the real world at the time. And so
Gotcha.
And because Morg's original body was made out of shade stuff and was in this constant state of like, not even just like the thing that we are as like biological entities, but like an even a more extreme version of that where like we had a soda can that was constantly morphing between being a soda can and a rock, so it couldn't ever be fully both. And that is what shades are in this version of Eidolon. And so, like, being attached permanently to a physical object that isn't constantly changing in that same way causes the Lion Man a lot of discomfort because they have to consciously alter that stuff. Is basically what I meant. There was something else about the Undertow I wanted to mention that's relevant, but I don't remember what it is. Oh well, we didn't talk about Dick Valentine either, which is too bad because he's really cool. He's like just this guy.
You could always sign up again. Come back on, talk about Dick Valentine.
The only thing I really want to mention is the story about Dick Valentine that I can't find but inspired the campaign also. Can I mention that as kind of the last thought?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Because I know
this is going to be a wrap-up, I think, probably.
Because to me, this doesn't directly relate to Morg, but it relates to everything in this universe. The story I read, and I could have this wrong and it could be a different person, but I remember it being about Dick Valentine, lead singer of Electric Six. He's walking through the woods, I think in Ireland, with his daughter, and they come across this guy in the woods. And I think the guy has a dog, and Dick has this thought, like, oh my gosh, this guy could kill me, or my daughter, and like we would never be found. And it's just like a passing thought of absolute terror. And they just kind of nod to each other, and they pass, and nothing happens. And as he's walking away, he's walking with his daughter, he's like, thank you for not killing me. And then he went on with his life. And he's just kind of some guy, despite all of the crazy shit he writes. He's just like, I'm a guy, I get scared, I like to have food. And that whole, like, thank you for not killing me, really informed how I think about this universe. And these characters. And, like, what it's like to inhabit it. Because, you just walk out and it's like, oh, this could be really bad. Oh, thank you for not being really bad. Maybe that's what I should say to you, because I was very nervous. This is the first time I've been on a podcast in a long time. So thank you for not being really bad. Thank you for not killing me. I appreciate it.
We have about 5 minutes left.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
no!
No. All right. So, I'm Izzy. I don't have any social medias, but you can find me at the Discord in the show notes. So come by, tell us about your guys. You might even end up as a future guest.
Ooh.
And the only thing I really have to plug is at some point, maybe in the past, maybe in the future, I will be on an episode of SCP Research Archives as a funny little guy there. So maybe check that out too.
Yeah.
I messed up and didn't have the guest go first.
Well,
no, it's okay.
Well, here's the thing. We're dealing with the end times here because we've got two antichrists. We have both Morgs here. So, the last...
Well, we did establish that I'm the Jesus of this situation before the podcast.
Yeah, before the recording. So I consent.
So I could be I could be last, and by going last, I then am going first. Is where
shit.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I was gonna
Uh-huh.
lead you into it. I was just gonna plug mine, lead you into it, and then plug the.
You're giving away the secrets,
totally.
Morg. You're telling them all the secrets.
Uh-huh.
I love to spoil.
They will
secrets.
understand. It was a sled.
I love to make everyone in on the joke. Is the thing. But you can find me at Haunting the Morgue in most places, mostly Tumblr and Blue Sky, I guess. But co-host is Gengar. My other podcast is The Sonic Hustle, a complete and total Sonic lore podcast. I don't really, even though they're not on today, I do want to be like, hey, you should listen to the podcast that Emery's part of.
What's it called again?
Yeah. The disappearances of Lydia Fontaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention that because this will go up after the Kickstarter's over.
Oh, well, you should still listen to it because it is.
Absolutely.
But yeah, good point. Thank you. Yeah. And Symbolic.
Well, I'm Symbolic Godzilla because Godzilla is symbolic. You can find me on the Discord server for Check Out This Guy. I'm not the most active person, but I'm trying to be the most active person. I also have a co-host, which is symbolic.godzilla. I'm not very active there because I learned from this podcast, you don't have to have social media. You can just not. And I don't really.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of doing things that I enjoy instead of putting out content for a little while and seeing how that works. Though about once a month I do send Morg a message. Hey, wouldn't this be a funny podcast? JK unless. That's a different. Wait. No, oh shoot! I can't say JK unless. That's a different podcast.
I'm just so fucking lazy.
So I'm going to say, because it's my current obsession, everyone check out Macross 7. It gets good.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah. You can find this podcast on co-host, Blue Sky, Tumblr. The Tumblr's, I think, the most up-to-date at Check Out the Sky.
Oh, I do have a Tumblr. I haven't done anything with it, though. Check out.
You don't have to plug it if you...
Check out my empty Tumblr. Or is it a full Tumblr? Think about
Scary.
that. What does that mean? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. And you can find these two clowns on the said Discord that's in the show notes. But, yeah, I think that's...
I'm a scary clown.
Oh, well, this podcast is brought to you by Noisepace.xyz. You gotta say that.
Do you guys do the thing where you mention a show you're liking on Noisepace? Is that a thing?
Sometimes.
Oh, because I've been listening.
Is there one you want to mention?
I've been really listening to a lot of the I call them the Pudding Brothers, but they don't like pudding. I mainlined Jurgen, and I'm now finally into Doctor Huh. But Kyle XY question mark is the best, and that's how I got into it. And
yeah,
so I'm really into those right now, because Forward ReZero hasn't updated yet.
Oh, LOL. And it won't.
Yeah,
it won't.
You
should listen anyway, but
it won't. Are you still stuck on the cliffhanger from the last episode that you watched? That was released? Oh my god, that is a heck of a place to stop.
I know.
Oh, and also Roy's Night Marinara, not Night Marinara.
Nana Roy's Night Marinara.
Yeah, I'm coming up on the last episode of that, and I finally listened to the first episode because I can't do Jeff the Killer's pictures, so I finally listened to that episode because it was freaking me out.
Sam is also on that one a lot too. Yeah. One of the Pudding Bros.
I think you mean Pudding Bros.
One of the Pudding Bros. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like pudding though. They didn't like my joke.
And with that, we have, we've taken down the guys that were taped to the wall because I felt bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I know. I felt bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When we took
I think maybe we'll keep Flamingo Joe taped up there though, so we can keep throwing darts at him. You know,
he is squirming. He's squirming in quite an adorable way.
Oh, that's weird.
That sounds like a lot of effort. So why don't you kick back and have some nice, refreshing druid fluid?
Druid.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds scary.
It's from Clusterfuck.
Oh. Good night, everyone.
Good
night, everyone.